We'll do 11 for now. Okay. Another epic. Oh my gosh, I have 2 million piranha launchers. Hey! No! I just opened up a golden mayor noggin fogger. Why? Burgly Bully. Burgly Bully. Yes! Heck yeah, that's perfect. Hey everyone. In case you didn't know, Blizzard has started a new type of section of cards that is in the wild format that is called the Hall of Fame. Today, they announced that when the Year of the Mammoth starts, which will be when the next expansion releases, that there will be 6 cards moving into the Hall of Fame, which is essentially the wild format. Those 6 cards are Azure Drake, Sylvanas Windrunner, Ragnaros the Firelord, Ice Lance, Conceal, and Power Overwhelming. Now, to disencourage you from just getting full disenchant value and then not having the cards, they're just going to give you the dust. And you get to keep the cards. Except, what they're doing is you will only be getting the dust value for however many copies you can put in a deck. So with Azure Drake, I can put 2 copies in a deck, so I'll get the dust value for 2. But what if I have a gold, and what if I have a non-gold? Well, you'll get the full dust value for your golden ones if you have golden ones. But if you have a golden one and a non-golden one, then same thing. You'll get the dust value for a gold one and the dust value for a non-gold one. So basically, if you have 2 gold Azure Drakes like me, you'll get 1600 dust, and you still get to keep your gold Azure Drakes if you want. And with Sylvanas, let's move over to Sylvanas here really quick. If you have Sylvanas, you'll just get 1600 dust, and you don't have to disenchant your Sylvanas. So that's pretty cool. Although, unfortunately for me, I think I have multiple Ragnaros. Yes, I have 2 Ragnaros. So I'll get 1600 for it, and I'll still get to keep Ragnaros. And then I guess I can finally disenchant my second one, since that means they're not going to nerf it. Ice Lance, you'll get a whole 80 dust for your 2 Ice Lances, unless you have gold ones. But what you could do if you wanted to, if you didn't have Sylvanas, or Ragnaros, or some of these cards, you could just craft the gold versions of them. And first of all, you would need to have that much dust in order to craft them. And then, once the Year of the Mammoth starts, you'll get the dust, and then you can just also disenchant them. So, if you're doing the math correctly, let's say I don't have a Ragnaros. I could craft a gold Ragnaros. It'd cost me 3200 dust, and then once the Year of the Mammoth starts, I'll get 3200 dust, so a full refund, and then I can disenchant that gold Ragnaros for 1600, since that's what its disenchant value is. So in total, I will just get 1600 dust for free. Though if you have Ragnaros already and you craft a golden one, you're basically going to go even. You're not going to get any type of dust benefit off that, but you'll have a gold Ragnaros, because what'll happen is you'll spend 32 and then you'll get 32, so you'll be at even, and then you could disenchant your other Ragnaros if you have another one, so you'll be going up 400 dust basically, but you'll still have a Ragnaros, but now it'll be gold. So you could do that. But anyways, with the nerfs, I feel like it's pretty necessary. I feel like Ragnaros I mean by nerf, going into the Hall of Fame. Ragnaros going into Hall of Fame really makes sense. So many high cost cards were basically compared to Ragnaros. You'd be building a deck and be like, I kind of want to put Medivh in my deck, but how good is Medivh compared to Ragnaros? And Ragnaros just gets that instant value, So going into the Hall of Fame totally makes sense. With Sylvanas, they mentioned how it has the most powerful death rattle in the game, and it's hindering them from having a creative space related to death rattles. So, putting Sylvanas into the Hall of Fame will make it so that they can do new cool things with death rattles. And also, it's just Sylvanas used to just be the best legendary in the game, just because it's a medium drop, and the fact that if you play it correctly, your opponent sometimes has to trade 2 4-attack minions into it just to kill it, so that it doesn't take a minion. So that seems completely reasonable. Azure Drake going to the Hall of Fame makes complete sense to me. I made a video on Azure Drake, should it be a legendary, because so many decks just play Azure Drake, and a lot of what they mentioned in the article was that the 5-drop slot is highly competitive. There aren't that many good 5-cost minions in the game that would be better than Azure Drake, basically. And the fact that he would be limiting future card use, because you would just be saying, hey, is it better than Azure Drake? Probably not. I'll just play Azure Drake. So that completely makes sense. As far as Ice Lance going into the Hall of Fame, I feel like it makes sense because it was mostly only used in Freeze Mage, and in the article they mentioned it has a lot to do with a high amount of burst damage. Because you can get it discounted with Sorcerer's Apprentice or other various ways, it can cost 0. And the fact that it can be doing 4 damage for 0 mana, and it also prevents their design space for really cool spell damage cards, or cards that duplicate spells is what they mentioned as well. Because if you were able to duplicate multiple Ice Lances, and you could just put down a couple spell damage minions and then just face your opponent, and it's just too crazy. Conceal. So they said that they thought about putting Gadgetzan Auctioneer into the Hall of Fame, but they decided to choose Conceal instead. And I kind of agree with that. I feel like that's a lot better of a solution, because Gadgetzan Auctioneer isn't insane, and it's still really cool. It's pretty fair in Druid and just some other classes. But the thing that made it insane is being able to conceal, because not enough classes have a way to just kill a 4 health minion that isn't targetable, and they can't attack it or anything. It's just hidden. And so putting Conceal into the Hall of Fame will definitely change Rogue's strategy, and it will also make just Gadgetzan Auctioneer a little bit worse too. Because so many times on turn 7 or even on turn 6, a rogue will play Gadgetzan Auctioneer and then just coin and then conceal, and then the next turn you die because they just play Leroy, and then they just play all these spells and discount spells, and you can't stop it. It's too crazy. The last card is Power Overwhelming. So this going to the Hall of Fame, it kind of makes me upset in some sense, but it also seems understandable because a Zoo Warlock deck could probably exist forever, and Power Overwhelming was just one of the main tools that they had to just trade up into higher cost minions that your opponent spent 5 or 6 mana investing into, and you could just have a 1/1 minion that was summoned from a battle cry of one of your minions on the field already, and then you just use Power Overwhelming and just trade it into it, and it kills it, and the tempo swing there is really insane. But the thing that upsets me the most about this is actually because of the new neutral legendary, Sergeant Sally. When they debuted this in the live stream, they showed how cool it was to combo it with Power Overwhelming. And it's like, well, yeah, that is really cool, but we're not going to get to do that anymore, at least in the standard format, so that's pretty sad. I assume that they're going to have new ways in future sets where Sergeant Sally could potentially see play. But Power Overwhelming was such a really cool way to use this card, and though it only got to see some play like the first few weeks of Mean Streets, the Power Overwhelming synergy there is going to basically be gone. So that's it for the cards going into the Hall of Fame. Pretty interesting. They also mentioned that this year they're going to be releasing 3 full sets and not any adventures, but so they mentioned that they would be 130 card sets. So one at the beginning of the year, one in the middle of the year, one at the end of the year. And that's cool because more cards coming into the game is really good, and it will change the meta more often. But as far as adventures, I really liked that. I really liked being able to just spend a set amount of money or a set amount of gold and you got all of the cards in that little set. I really liked that. So that I think that's going to be harder for newer players. But they mentioned that for a few weeks leading up to the Year of the Mammoth, they're going to be releasing daily login rewards. They mentioned expansion packs, and other like dust or gold just for logging in. So that's really cool. So they're giving away more things, and that's probably in some way to compensate for free-to-play players having to basically acquire 3 full sets a year instead of 2 sets and 1 adventure. Back to the adventures though, they mentioned that they kind of like how in Mean Streets there were the 3 gangs and they wanted to try to associate that that storyline in, and they kind of did that in a Tavern Brawl. But what they want to do is they want to do more of that with the future sets, and potentially have like a few boss battle type things happening as a part of a single player experience with the release of each expansion, kind of just telling the story of that expansion. So that should be pretty cool. I think that's cool, and that they said that would be free content as well. So that's really cool, really interesting to see what exactly they do. I'm predicting that we will hear about the next expansion in less than a month. I believe definitely before the end of March, especially because the Winter Championships happen near the end of March. I'm sure that they're planning on revealing it right around then, but we'll see. I think that's it. Another thing that they mentioned is that they wanted to amp up fireside gatherings. They didn't specify too much about what they're going to do there, but it will happen closer to the release of the first expansion this year. They said that they wanted to add additional in-client support, so that should be pretty cool. We'll see what that looks like. Another part about the release of the new year of Hearthstone, being the Year of the Mammoth, is that they're going to be releasing Maive Shadow Song, which is an alternate rogue hero that's going to be free for everybody, and they said it's going to be really easy. You're just going to have to win 10 games of Hearthstone in standard, ranked, or casual mode, and that's just after the expansion releases. So everyone will get that quest, and then you'll have a new rogue hero, and then you'll never see Valera ever again. Maybe. As far as what to do about the cards that are going into the Hall of Fame, if you don't have the cards, but you do have the dust, I would highly recommend crafting the gold versions of them if you can, or just any version of them if you can, just so that you'll get the free dust, and then you'll have the cards as well. You're literally getting the cards for free if you don't have them. You just have to have enough dust to get them, so definitely do that. If you don't have Ice Lance, Conceal, Power Overwhelming, Azure Drake, Sylvanas, or Ragnaros. Anyways, I hope this news has been helpful to you, and make sure to subscribe. Also follow me on Twitch if you don't already, and I'll see you next time.